Welcome to Push to Pass podcast with JP Murray, a discussion about business, racing, sports, and life. This podcast delivers insights on what makes businesses, teams, and people successful based on real-life business experiences. Following a career with America's largest associations, JP Murray founded the Murray Company, one of Washington, D.C.'s most successful consulting firms. The company was acquired successfully and enabled him to launch JP Murray Racing, a business development and sponsorship agency for auto racing teams. Here is JP.
Hey, welcome everybody to the Push to Pass podcast with JP Murray. Today's topic is the reason I took a hiatus from association work. This week is actually the annual conference for the association industry. Yes, there is an association for associations, the American Society of Association Executives Fine Group. They're getting together, I think, in Nashville this week. I won't be there. In fact, almost a year ago, my decade-plus association consultancy company was sold. And I wanted to tell you why I decided to exit the association industry for a bit, even though I had 30 years of experience in it, an established network, and frankly, a track record of results. These are my feelings and not that of my former company. It's my personal take. I wrote Association Hustle. I think it still applies, and I don't back off a word from that book or any of my previous content. But I've got some observations where I needed to kind of step away for a while. First of all, legacy bias. I began to have canned responses on some issues, and that's a dangerous mode for a consultant if you have a hammer and assume that everything is a nail. Don't present templated work ever. I never did, but it was becoming difficult to make things and keep things fresh, regardless of what kind of the data and the results showed me. Secondly, the association industry, in my view, was not prepared to take bold action. These organizations can have a business model of membership and conferences that have served it well, but not radically changing as technology and its ability to connect people was disrupting that industry. Third, I thought in some ways leaders in Washington, D.C. were afraid to say the baby was ugly. In some cases it was. Everyone is out there hitting dingers. And that's what they want portrayed because it might affect their reputation. It might affect their ability to get the next job. And it's likely a factor in an industry when chief executives and presidents don't have their own money on the line. It's okay. Fourth, I felt like post-COVID responses from these businesses were going to return to the status quo. And that's comfortable for many, but kind of boring for a 57-year-old guy like me. An industry on autopilot was not a fit. Fifth, I wanted to make sure I could, frankly, make a difference. And every single person wants to make a difference in the industry and the jobs that they serve. I couldn't make a difference like I once could. Sixth, it was time for others to lead the company that I founded. I was clogging things up mentally and with my own physical presence. I'm not sure everybody believes that then or now, but it did occur to me, and it has happened. Frankly, others can take up the mantle, and that's awesome. Seventh, I didn't want to wring out this industry just for another buck. Frankly, I didn't have to. So why do something just for the money when you don't really need to? And give it your very best. Eighth, I wanted to test another industry to see if the views I had on business and the things I could learn from that could apply to another space. And frankly, the things that I'm learning now could apply to the association industry later. Motor racing works a lot different than associations. Frankly, it moves a lot quicker at a minimum. So I needed a hiatus, and you might need one too, not only from your industry, but just in a mindset, something that you can go and you can try some different things, not forever, but just for a year or two even. It might re-energize you, motivate, or just give you a different perspective. Super thankful for what the association industry provided me and my family. But it was time to take a step back and let others move into the space. Let them give it a try. Let their ideas be implemented while I could go innovate and try some things once again and maybe return. But I want to be very candid about my reasons for taking a hiatus, and I hope they're helpful to you.
Thank you for listening to the Push to Pass podcast with JP Murray, a discussion about business, racing, sports, and life. If you would like to sponsor Push to Pass, send an email to jp@jpmurray.com. Follow JP on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. His website is jpmurray.com. Until next time, push yourself to pass the competition. Thanks for listening.
Can't wait to chat with you next week on the Push to Pass podcast with JP Murray. So long.